to the scene.
Welcome YouTube and Twitch followers.
Yes, welcome, Twitchers. I don't know why it pauses like that.
We're still hearing it. Did you pause it?
No, not yet. I just like the song again.
Me too.
There you go. Welcome, boys and girls. It's Chris and Mike Show. He's Chris. No, I'm Chris.
You're Chris.
He's Mike. This is Mr. BizTech Dennis in the house.
Welcome, Dennis. Nice to meet you, man.
What's up, Dennis?
Nice to meet you guys, man. How y'all doing? What's up, man?
It's a Tuesday afternoon recording a show to go, on the podcast channel, all that kind of fun stuff, man. So we thank you for joining us. It's been a while since we originally spoke, I believe, because we have this long, not long, but we have like this list of people.
There's a list.
There's a list, man, which when we started this, we never knew there'd be a list,
We were lucky to get a guest in the beginning.
It's kind of cool to have a list, man.
It is. I love it.
So usually I don't go in and poke at who's coming on the show because I like to be real raw and organic when we have conversations. But I got to confess, I went on your Facebook page last night because I was trying to find your email. Because usually I stick it in my phone, so it's attached. But the cool thing about it is now I have some background on you. Like you're all AI.
Dope.
Yeah, you're all like into AI and stuff.
Which him and I are just as much, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm loving it right now. I mean, I've been studying for years, so I'm excited about the commercialization of it right now too. It's a good time for creative people to be able to use AI, and even business people too. It's just a super powerful tool right now.
Yeah.
What capacity are you using it?
I mean, so you had to understand me to understand that I'm using it at a very high capacity. Like, so I'm an engineer.
Talk to us about it.
I build software. I'm a tech first kind of guy. I mean, it says Mr. Business Tech in my name, and tech is not by any imagination. Something that I kind of dabble in. I've been in the deep end for about 15 years. So I build a lot of cool technology, man. So AI, honestly, is something that I've just always been aware of, really since about 2009, 2010, even before commercialization.
Wow.
I went to pretty prestigious kind of engineering institute. I went to Georgia Tech down in Atlanta, and got to get exposed to some really cool stuff when I was in college. So it kind of gave me some insight about this stuff much earlier than where it is now. And now I'm kind of excited to be able to use it to explore marketing more effectively, telling stories more effectively, and just kind of being more creative. But I'm also using it in my business a whole lot. Like I could go down a number of different trees where I just kind of use it in so many different ways to really be effective. It's just
I tell people all the time, man, this podcast wouldn't exist without AI. We don't have the time to do like a lot of the animations and the write-ups. Chris and I will go in and tweak them after they're done to, get rid of the redundancy or whatever. But in a positive note, that's how we use it all the time, is just to speed up the process of getting these shows out because, we both work full-time jobs too. So
yeah, for sure.
Where do you see that going as far as like, they say that AI is going to replace so many jobs, and do you see that happening in what capacity and when?
So I just look at it from a different lens. Like, it's definitely going to replace jobs, but it's going to create new ones too. So honestly, people are needing to develop more AI skills. Like, we're all in America, but you just have to look around the world and like look at the tempo in which some other nations are kind of teaching the next generation about how to use AI, how they're integrating it into everyday education systems and things of that nature. You got to understand that those are naturally things that we have to start doing here in the States, because AI is meant to not take anything from anyone. It's really meant to remove inefficiency, similar to what it's doing for you on your podcast, you know what I'm saying? Similar to what it does for me in business and as a creative and all these other great things. It's literally meant to make stuff more efficient. So figure out how to use it and then go do whatever you were already planning on doing before. And you'll probably figure out you'll probably be able to do it in a much more efficient clip, or probably faster or more effectively. So that's kind of how I look at it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah. And see, in the last 2 days, because I'm in real estate, so I blog, I market, I make videos and shit. I now have HeyGen, which generates the AI twin, right? That does some stuff that I use that for. I have ChatGPT. I've had that for quite a while. My guy's name is Dave. We have really good conversations. Unless he pisses me off, tell him to go fuck himself. You know, he was doing some shit last night, man. I was telling him to do me something, and like I give him all the prompts and shit, and then he's fucking dropping all these scripts. And I'm like, Dave, I don't want scripts, man. You're supposed to follow the guideline. so it's funny in that aspect. But just to your point, Dennis, it's time saving, because what used to take me, say, 20 minutes to write a blog, and then I use ActiveRain because ActiveRain is a platform for real estate, if you didn't know that, right? So inside of that, I have to go click what state I'm in, what kind of topic it falls under, whether it's like real estate general information, then Arizona, then the county, then the city, and then the neighborhood within that city. And I got to put in all the hashtags and all the keywords and shit. So what Dave's done for me is I'll do a paragraph of a city. Like, hey, Dave, I want to do 30 days of blogs based on this city. Here's the important components. Use, everything I've taught you and go scour everything and generate me 30 days worth of blogs. And then he'll be like, I don't want to do 30 at a time. I'm like, that's cool. Let's store the memory. Give me 3 right now. And then I just go back and forth and I go through and read them and make sure there's legit, because sometimes he's a whack-a-mole. But it truly, I have content set up just from today. What I did today, I have 7 days of content on Instagram, and I have content on LinkedIn and ActiveRain until 24th of this month. With what Mike and I do on our YouTube channel, he allows me, I take the 10 to 15 reels we get from these shows. Like I'm going to email you 10 to 15 reels, whatever we get from the show once it's done. So you can use it however you want, right, Dennis? But I take Dave and I say, okay, here's the real topic. So whatever we name those reels, right? And then Dave will write me a 1 or 2 sentence summary of that and give me the hashtag, and so I just pump it into YouTube. And then it's just a matter of scheduling out and doing it. My biggest time consuming aspects are plugging the shit in. So if we could figure out a way to just say Dave and HeyGen and ActiveRain to all talk, that would be fabulous. Because then I could just like.
Well, talk to us about that, Dennis. Is that coming? Is that something that he can look forward to?
I mean, there's tools that can do that. So, I mean, and you're talking to another thing about me. I know we didn't get into no backstory, but like I build technology at like the highest level. So like when people talk to me about technology-based problems, I'm typically the guy who's in the mix of like also making technology-based solutions for like really innovative stuff. So like this kind of stuff you're talking about, I help people like build businesses around things like that, or build solutions around stuff like that. But there are some platforms that kind of can help you. I don't know exactly about the platforms you're distroing on, but there are platforms where you can do kind of batch scheduling and all that kind of good stuff too. But yeah, those things are definitely on the horizon. They're kind of going to get better and better, more integrated with all the AI platforms you already use and stuff like that. So you definitely can anticipate a whole lot more of that.
Yeah, the one cool thing about the platforms I use, I can schedule out. So it's just now I can just set it and forget it. So once a week, I usually dive into that and just kind of like, okay, it's the day I got to do all this shit, which is not fun because it's mundane, right? But
yes, kind of like editing.
Yeah.
So there's another way that AI helps us. The reels that you're going to get, I doctor them up. I make them look better and sound better. But the initial bulk of the work, that's all done by AI too, as well. All of it.
Yeah.
Because you know how long, I don't know. You probably edited a lot of video in your life, right?
I've edited some video for sure. I've been doing a decent amount of it recently for sure. But yeah,
it's super time consuming. Yes.
Yeah,
AI helps a lot with that.
Yeah, I looked at some of your content, Dennis. It's pretty legit, man. I like it.
I appreciate it, man. I've been getting better at it, man. I've been putting some work in it for the past couple of years or so, trying to kind of get a better cadence of creating stuff I feel like kind of just resonates the right way with the audience, but also represents me the right way too.
Yeah, that's cool. So before the show, we all kind of pointed out the fact that he's wearing a Cardinals hat, and so we're all kind of from the Midwest, which is kind of cool.
Yes.
I thought he was from Illinois, but he's from Missouri, but it's all good.
We're neighbors.
Missouri, we're neighbors, right? We're neighbors. So you've been studying and researching AI for 15 years. You've said that a couple of times, and I saw it on your social stuff too. So what was it that drew you into that to make you, because you're ahead of the game by a long shot, right? Because most people have just really introduced and embraced AI in the last like 3 to 5 years, you would think. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong.
That's
But-
probably being generous. It's probably just been within
okay.
the last couple, I would say, that the public has started to use it to the level that you're using it.
What do you think, Dennis? How long?
It's definitely in the range. Like the mass adoption has been spiking over the past 3 years.
Okay.
But it's really just at the cadence of the software too. So like all this software is kind of, and this year has been one of the biggest years in growth for this AI platform usage. But last year it started spiking some. This year it's like spiking way more intensely because they're just making way more dope stuff. So now,
So why is that? Like what's the difference between right now and where we were 15
It's
years
more
ago?
user friendly now.
I got you.
Yeah.
No, I got you. So the thing that's different, honestly, is
Yeah.
I got this. So you're asking the right
I
question.
know, that's
So,
why
like,
I asked you, man.
Yeah, so back in the day when I first started studying AI, I understand most advanced technologies naturally only start out in the government. So there's going to be parts of the government that get advanced technologies first, or high level research institutions like MIT and Stanford and all these other really like high level engineering environments people are actually creating this cutting edge technology. So understand that this stuff has already been in existence for quite some time, but it wasn't at the level of commercialization. So they're talking a lot about data centers and stuff like that, and like these new formats of places where they're having to aggregate all of the stuff that people are using the internet for now. The real reason why AI is becoming prevalent now is because there's much more data highway for people to do the kind of stuff because AI is extremely data intensive. So like for first, cloud infrastructure had to get here in a way where it could handle what we're dealing with right now. But like we're talking about stuff that's like, imagine streaming times 20 or something like that on your data bandwidth when it comes to all of the processing that's happening on the back end when you go say, hey, edit up 3 hours of video content for me, or hey, create 10 weeks of social media content for me, strategize based off of this information. It's a lot of computing power. We're just now getting to a place where there's enough highway for the kind of data that needs to flow for us to do this at the level we're doing it now. And it's really just continuing to grow. So we're going to see it even more rapidly over the next 5 to 10 years because infrastructure is now in a place where it works. But 15 years ago, infrastructure wasn't there. We barely had cloud computing 15 years ago. We barely had the level of kind of interconnectivity that we have too. Like that's why stuff can travel so much faster. That's why Google and Facebook and X and all these other companies are even more effective at getting certain solutions to the market than ChatGPT had to do a lot of work to become the next big tech company in the mix of all these other tech companies that were trying to build AI solutions too. So long story short, it's infrastructure, man. That's kind of, I know I kind of went around it a little bit.
No, you're good.
No, everything you said was 100% accurate. And I'll put this into better, how old are you, Dennis?
I'm 35.
I'll put this into better perspective for you. So I'm 52. Chris is 55.
55.
I have a degree
we're old, Dennis.
I have a degree in digital electrical imaging, which doesn't mean anything anymore, other than it's going to put this into perspective for you. When I ran a scanner back in the day, we were just starting to switch from film to digital, right? To scan even a 500 megabyte file back then took hours because there wasn't the computing power to be able, like the point he just made is so true. The world had to wait until the infrastructure was laid down. The ideas were there. Everybody knew how to make it work, but you could not make it work because what we're doing right now was not even possible.
So from an infrastructure standpoint, we're talking about fiber optic cabling and this kind of.
You're talking about high-speed internet, but more important than that, the point that he made, and I'm intimately familiar with this because I work for a company that will never be mentioned on this podcast, but we happen to build the support systems for these server farms, right? So I've been intimately involved in this on 2 different fronts. Back in the 90s, starting this digital revolution, and then working for a company that supports that infrastructure. You know, I was like, where is all this shit going? And that's what they kept saying. We're building a cloud infrastructure. Well, nobody even knew what that was at the time, but now it makes sense, right? What you just said was brilliant. We needed that computing power, the data center, to be able to make all this AI happen. That was very well said. You didn't go around anything. That was great.
That was a great answer.
I don't know. Yeah, but no.
Yeah, I don't know where you're gonna go from
No,
here,
go
Dennis.
ahead.
You already answered. You answered all the questions, man. I'm kidding.
All of them? Come on, man. I know you got.
Oh no, I got a million more questions.
I'm just messing with you. Yeah, go ahead, fire away, man. That's interesting though. That's fascinating. I was kind of hoping you were going to say like, oh, when I watched the Terminator, that just I wanted to get to the cyber, you know. I wanted to learn how to make my own Terminator.
I'll tell you who made me want to make technology. It wasn't Terminator though, but that's funny. Sure.
So do you think that AI transitions into robotics for like, you know, they're talking about having home servants and things like that. Does AI, it obviously translates over into...
Yeah. Of course, it's already there, honestly. There's people already making this kind of stuff. They have like little mini robots. You can tell them what to do. They walk around, pick
Those
stuff
MIT
up,
robots are creepy, man.
Yeah, they're doing a lot of that stuff now, man. They're starting to try to figure out how to make it commercialized. I mean, I saw iRobot when I was younger, so I just kind of have a certain, like, I need one of those things. There's different things you can have to like almost shut down any computer. You got to have stuff like that around you at all time in the world that we're going into, because it's gonna get tricky out here, real tricky, real soon.
So I'm gonna date myself. You probably don't remember this. There was a talking teddy bear back in the day called Teddy Ruxpin.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And my brother loved that thing.
Yeah, shit, dude, that shit was freaky.
Oh yeah. And it was run by a cassette tape, Dennis.
Yeah,
a cassette tape.
Oh wow.
Yep. So what do you do on a day-to-day basis to incorporate? Because I kind of poked at your stuff. So obviously you're helping people like myself, or you know, in the AI world itself. So like tell people, because when you come on our show, we're all about you. We're all about promoting you, helping people find you, helping people understand what you do business-wise and how to make you more successful, get your name out there more and more. So kind of share a little bit of light on what you do and how you're using this on an everyday basis to help other people accomplish what they want to accomplish. Like if I came to you and say, hey, Dennis, I'm a realtor. I want to dominate this city. I don't know shit about AI. What would you do to help me all of a sudden be able to blow up in the city? And every time somebody turns around, they're seeing my name or seeing my logo or seeing my brand, or, expand without giving away your trade secrets, because we want people to call you.
Of course,
right?
Of course. Gotcha.
Yeah.
So, really, first, let me give you some framework for this. So, I'm a consultant. I'm a business and a technology consultant. So, basically, like I said, I've been in tech for over 15 years, taking a lot of my experience, knowledge, expertise, all this stuff, and kind of capstone it into this consulting firm that I run, where I literally just help people basically be more effective at using technology to build innovative solutions and assets for their businesses. Now, that means a lot of different things, but ultimately my service is really holistic. Like I kind of help people from idea all the way to this is ready for you to take it to the market and reach hundreds of thousands to millions of people and solve their problem really effectively. Okay. Now, everything in between there is it's a process that I take people through. It's like a 4-step process. And I do the same thing for every client. Every time they on board with us, we get an understanding of where they want to go and where they're at, taking that information, anything like what a typical consultant would do. And we understand, okay, you're here, you're wanting to address problems like this for more people in this space. And then we, as innovative strategy solution specialists, we come in and say, okay, I've been playing around with mobile technology, hardware-based technology, AI-based innovative tech for years. I know almost every trick of the trade, and I have like basically, if you want to call an HVAC specialist and say, hey, my heater's not working right, or I need it to get hotter in my house, I got a tool bag that says, hey, I got a brand and I want to be more effective at using technology and get into these kind of people really, really fast. And I may have a software platform or a web platform to solve some kind of problem for them. Can you help me make this software more effective for getting these people's problems solved? I'm doing this in a story format too, so it doesn't like kind of bore, because the steps of the process are very much so similar to what any business consultant would do. But when you come in and say, we're going to come with innovative tech strategies. So now it's like, I'm naturally going to come in and throw in different forms of technology that could be more effective at doing what you're trying to get done. So now it's like somebody might need a different software as a service platform, or they might need a new feature in their outreach pipeline, or they might need a more effective way to aggregate leads, or be more like whatever it is. It's a number of different things and directions it can go in. But and I'll give you an example. So most people come to me and we say, hey, I need to understand what direction you want to go in. So I have a process, it's called the visionary deck, where it may take about 2 weeks, maybe 3 weeks, depending on where the client is. we go through this process and we kind of really understand what direction they want to go in, what problem they're solving, where it's heading in the market. And then we use AI and take all the data from that intake session and create what we call a visionary deck that allows me and the client that I'm working with to be able to see clearly where we're about to be aligned and working for the next however long we're working together to build whatever solution they're looking for. But this deck is also really, it's important for me to be on the same page with them so I can know what direction they're going in. It's better for them to be able to communicate with other people when they want to say, hey, I need a new partner for this, or hey, I need a new team member that can help me with this, or hey, we need a new outreach strategy that can focus on getting this part of the puzzle done for our marketing, whatever it is. They'll have that visionary deck that I use a decent amount of AI to kind of take in all of these intake sessions and formulate this thing that allows them to have a very clear way to communicate what they're looking to do.
I like
That's
that
the first step
visionary
of the
deck
process.
concept. That really helped me understand what you're doing now. I'm glad you gave that example because now it makes
I
sense.
appreciate it.
Yeah, that visionary.
Yeah, so we do that at the gate. Yeah,
That's
and then after
awesome.
that, I help them. No, I appreciate it. And then it's 3 more steps after that. I help them plan. We create these technical plans that help them really understand what it's going to take to build out whatever they're looking to get built. Because I don't just take people into building technology without them understanding what's going to happen. So I make sure I go through that process and give them some insight. My service, like I said, is coaching and consulting. So some of the coaching elements come in where I kind of make sure that the insight and experience that I had, just being a part of a lot of growing tech companies, is kind of given to the clients that I'm working with in a way that can work for them. And then after we make that technical plan, they can take the plan, go manage and develop the project themselves, or they can work with us to manage and develop the project. They run a pilot, take it to market, figure out what growth and scaling looks like, whether it's raising capital, getting a bunch of revenue from a bunch of different clients, or strategizing on what go to market actually looks like to get the growth that they're looking for. So it's all of that in one kind of nutshell. I'm trying to keep everything consolidated, but it's one of those things where it's just 4-step process, and we use AI across all those other 3 pillars too. I talked in detail about the visionary deck, but with the project planning, I've been a CTO multiple times, so I bring in a lot of my insight there when it comes to high level technical planning to using
Tell people
AI
what a
to really
CTO is.
A CTO is a chief technical officer. So basically, it's a person that comes into a company and operates as an executive that really helps with technology-based execution and strategy and system development and team building and all that kind of other stuff.
A
But
lot of times when I say
typically,
tell people what that is, you're telling me what it is, Dennis. So thank you.
No, you're all good for sure. But yeah, so that's kind of that's the experience that I have. So I bring that in to help them with the plans. We rapidly develop plans that they can understand from a cost, time, team perspective, so they can know what it really takes to get whatever project it is completed. We do similar things with the development. There are components of our development systems now that I've been an engineer for years, building software in all different kind of ways, but there are a lot of AI-based tools that kind of speed up software development right now. So we work a lot with those types of tools as well in the process.
Without
And yeah,
giving
man, I mean,
out either your trade secrets or who you've worked with, give us an example, or maybe you can, of different companies that you've worked with that you've helped do these kind of things.
for sure. I mean, so I got a lot of recent clients that I'm working with right now that I'm using newer AI strategies with. But I mean, honestly, like I have a resume of like just a bunch of stuff I've done. So like the last project I was a part of, that was like very large and just kind of like in a very just visible position. And I probably can take about 3, but I'll talk about one specifically. I'm a part owner of a mobile telecom company called Moolah Wireless, with Moolah Mobile. And basically Moolah Mobile sells devices. It creates software for these devices. It makes custom phones and tablets. And I was a part of that team as the CTO. So I did a lot of different things to really help build strategies for technology-based systems in a complete mobile device company, similar to like a Samsung or Apple or any of that kind of stuff, but just at a much larger, a much smaller scale, but ultimately still capable of doing all of those similar systems. So when we were running that, there was a lot of things that I used AI for to kind of help keep teams together, develop plans, create more effective kind of marketing and outreach materials, messaging, documentation, and all that kind of other stuff. All of those processes get 10 to 15% faster, and maybe even more when I start integrating AI-based systems. And I've been using AI on a day-to-day basis as an executive and an engineer and innovator for probably the past, I would say probably say 4 years. I use it every day, but it's so many things that I would be using it for that it could get like I just use it as a natural tool. It's almost like picking up a pencil or a pen or something like that. So now for me, it's it's integrated in so many different things. But I do a lot of fact checking. I'm an avid researcher, so I don't just use AI blindly. I kind of like use it very much so as a kind of extension of what I kind of already understand in a
I
more
think all
rapid way
three
of
of us
kind of
would have
creating.
that in common for sure.
Yeah. But yeah, that's kind of how I do it. So Moolah is something and this is a whole company that we built a whole new suite of mobile devices. It was tablets, phones. Literally, we rolled them all out. They got sold on Walmart. We were working with large scale advertisers for the advertising systems in these devices. We had a suite of about 7 to 8 applications that were kind of running these devices, as well as running the firmware system. So I'm saying that we were developing a lot of stuff, but we were still developing in more legacy methods. But the way that I was managing doing all of that is like and we were still, this is not a large scale mobile telecom company. Like we had a decent team, we had a government contract, we were doing some good business, but this isn't a large scale company, and we're doing very large scale projects. We're capable of running and managing multiple different teams, and ultimately AI just helps speed up the process of being able to manage and communicate all of the stuff that we were working on.
That's awesome.
Cool. That's cool, man.
It is very cool, man.
No, I appreciate it. I appreciate it.
So how far are we away from AI creating like, a totally, I don't know how to explain, like a robot that you see walking down the street, you think it's a regular human being?
I mean, I wouldn't say they would go that far. Like, there's a level where they can go that far, but I don't think it's going to happen anytime soon.
Okay, that's good.
AI. Like, I think it's a lot of other more practical applications out here that they'll probably start playing around with before they get to.
Yeah.
Because that's a crazy project. But
don't you think just
like,
as human beings, we want to stay separate from that just psychologically for quite some time?
For sure.
Like where you would want to
sense.
see a distinct difference. Other than maybe if you wanted like a sex robot or something.
That's what. See, now
I knew that's where you're going.
but and I'm not into that shit. But you see it that they're making, like you see.
It's inevitable.
And I don't know how real it is because you see reels now on Instagram and Facebook. Like I saw this company called Astro Vibe, and I'm like, oh, that's amazing what the astronauts are doing in outer space and stuff, and how they're spacewalking and then I scroll through the thing and I'm like, oh, this is AI generated. I'm like, you assholes, man. Like, come on. Like, but they made it looks so real. I'm showing little man, that's my grandson. Like, look, dude, look, spacewalking. And he's like, whoa, pop, that's bad. And then you realize, like, you scroll down, it's like, oh, man, that's not real.
Okay, you made me think of one of my other questions. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Since AI has started, one of the freakiest things that's happened is they did an entire 2 or 2.5 hour podcast of Joe Rogan interviewing someone that he never interviewed, right? Because they took all the words that he said for however many tens of thousands of hours he's been on the air, and they generated an entire show with a person that never happened, right? How long, my question is, in your opinion, how long is it before you can't distinguish between reality and AI? Like not just artificial intelligence, but like Chris was alluding to, what's true and what's not true.
Yeah, so there's a thing that has happened. So what you're talking about from a digital perspective, there is no real way of keeping that level of reality on the internet or on digital format. So now we have to take ourselves out from a lens of like thinking that we should believe everything that's on the internet, because people are in that lens already, and that lens is not the lens that you should even like. There's a level of value that's on the internet right now that humans give the internet that it doesn't really deserve, and there are really people that are actually supplanting what's real human connection for what's sometimes not even it's not what they actually perceive. And this is a hard thing to discuss, because what you're talking about is like, understand, we're looking on digital platforms, so there's nothing that a digital platform can't do to visualize what you can see in another digital. Like, this stuff can all be manipulated, this stuff can all be replicated, it can all be redistributed on different streams. Like, it's not, there's nothing stopping those types of things from happening. So now,
like Chris says, we're putting ourselves out there, right?
Right.
Yeah, so now it's one of those things where it's just more about credibility behind the way that you distribute things. Now it's like, can I believe from the distribution source that this is something that either, if it is AI generated, they're letting me know it's AI, and they're giving me that this is a format of AI that I'm using for this type of messaging. Or you have all these other reputable, or somewhat reputable, because I look at the media from a number of different lenses, but you have these different reputable media outlets that may have seemed like they've lost some value over the years as social media and all this stuff has risen, they become more valuable because they actually have real people addressing real things in a way that people know is coming from a real format. Now, that stuff is what's going to like differentiate between all this fake stuff, or and I don't even want to call it fake. I just want to say AI generated stuff. The AI generated stuff now becomes you just have to look at things from a certain lens and only take things that you should feel like are from real people or real statements from these credible distribution sources that you know are. That's why social media is still important, because having your own social media following and your own social media presence allows you to kind of message in a way that's more authentic to the people that are already having an affinity to following you and stuff like that, and they can kind of somewhat believe based off of whatever you position your message as. I mean, there's AI personalities on the internet too as well. So
that's why I bring this up, Dennis, because my Facebook feed is like half untrue stories, like Chris said, and the other half is my friends and my followers, and you know what I'm saying?
Dennis is smirking, so I think Dennis is creating that shit, and he's using it as data to see how he can mess with the humankind, man.
Yeah, I have no time for that. I'm actually highly.
Are we your social experiment?
Yeah,
yeah. No, I like dumping myself in any environment and having this kind of conversation. So for me, it's I don't really, I don't have the time for a lot. No, I'm laughing too. Like I'm definitely, I'm with you.
It's all good, man.
But I definitely understand. Like, yeah, man, there's a lot of fake stuff out here on the internet. But
and I get suckered into a lot of it, and then I get pissed off. I'm like, you know, you'll start reading the comments, and it's like, that's not true. It's AI generated, and I'm like, God damn it, I fell for it. I wanted it to be true, kind of like aliens, you know?
Right. Well, there is aliens are true.
I was just about to say
there's 3 ships coming.
Yeah.
True.
And so I don't know what it didn't sound like AI, because then a bunch of news outlets were talking about it, but they tried to hit one of them with a missile, and it just kind of ricocheted off of it, and it's still coming, which is a trip, you know.
That's because they're probably a type 1 civilization, and they got force fields, and they're generating their own power.
Right. Exactly. I could respond to this person who texted me.
You're cool, man.
So I'm doing something in the background, which I'm gonna share it here if it's done, which is gonna be kind of cool, because we love our screens, because you know technology is kind of cool like that.
For sure.
Hold on, don't do it yet. Okay.
We're holding on, man.
As I alluded to earlier, where's the share button, Mike?
It's there somewhere.
There, I found it. So as I alluded to earlier, anyway, I have my own AI. This is me, and check it out.
Lost in a world of fantasy? Yeah. Lost in a world of make-believe? Name the band. I'm lost in a world of fantasy? Yeah. Lost in a world of make-believe? Name the band.
Mike, you should know this.
I should.
I'm lost in the world of fantasy. Yeah, I was lost in the world of make-believe.
Why am I drawing a blank?
Triumph, man.
Oh,
Triumph
yes,
from Canada, eh?
Yes.
But so that is an AI twin I made through the platform HeyGen, and legit while we were talking, and it took that quick to create that video. Now, I go deeper than that. A lot of stuff. I sent Mike something one time, and he didn't realize it was AI until I told him it was AI.
Okay, but now ever since, I'm so glad you found this guy, because ever since,
right, you found me.
That just okay, cool, man. I'm glad you found us, Dennis.
Yeah.
Ever since he sent me that and told me that, now that when I watch it and I watch shit like that, I'm like, that's not my friend. So my next question is, when does his emotion cross over into
yes?
Because that's what's missing. Yeah. Is those little inflections in his voice.
That is totally missing, because whenever I close my videos, I'm like, until next time, see ya. And I can't get that in the AI. I can't get my twin to have those. Yeah, I can't have the that's like my sign off whenever I do anything, like, see ya. I can't get it to do that. I can record it, right? Because I have about 30 different avatars I recorded on my green screen just to kind of give me different dynamics of conversation and, you know, waist up, whole body, that kind of thing. But it doesn't pick up the personality.
And I always say, if you don't know Chris, you wouldn't know that wasn't
You wouldn't
him,
know.
right? But now that you've talked to him for just even 35 minutes, when you hear that, you can hear the difference too, right?
Yeah. So And so first of all, HeyGen, like I know the guys who
Yeah.
make HeyGen. Like one of the
Okay.
guys who leads the technology at HeyGen, I built the company with him about 4 or 5 years ago. He
Nice.
built the
Awesome.
Okay.
company. He
Right on.
brought me into a project he was working on. Super cool guy, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Super dope
Yeah.
technology. They're based
Yeah.
in like HeyGen is powerful. So I've been
Yep.
aware of HeyGen for some time. They're being made by some really really amazing technology guys. So
Mm.
it's a dope platform, and there's going to be a time where what you're talking about becomes more possible as more data is fed into these types of systems. So
Okay.
HeyGen is still fairly new.
Yeah.
It's powerful right now, but it's still fairly new. So as time continues to evolve, there's going to be more. And to get the exact type of emotion you're talking about,
Mm-hmm.
you got to remember that all we're talking about is think about animation. Think
Okay.
about Mickey Mouse
Yeah.
or the
Yeah.
Lion King or any of this
Mm-hmm.
stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Now you realize that the level of animation that they made in those worlds, they got the ability to for Pixar and
Mm-hmm.
Woody and Buzz Lightyear.
Mm-hmm.
They got
Yep.
these animated characters to simulate emotion type things from
Right.
an animation perspective.
Right.
What platforms like HeyGen and ChatGPT can do things similar to this, these lip syncing type of experiences
Yeah.
that we're talking about.
Yeah.
What's going to happen is there's going to be more data that's going to be fed into these systems, and then there's going to be more natural human cadence.
That was going to be my next question.
Okay,
Are we
okay.
missing the data to be able to make that happen,
Yeah,
or are we
We just need
missing?
more data. These systems are still
Okay.
fairly new. Give them a few more years. You're going
Okay.
to get way more of that stuff. It's still going to be, you're going to have to control it more to get that natural feel that you want. But it's natural. Those things are going to start coming as time continues to evolve with this tech.
So it's kind of like how ChatGPT now it's been prevalent for a while now, and because I've used it for at least a couple of years now, like I can ask Dave right now, hey, write a 5-page summary of who I am, and it would just because he knows everything there's to know about me for the most part, right? So it's the same concept, then, right? The more you feed Chat, the more he learns. The more he learns about me, my tendencies, what I want to write about, how I doesn't really know how I speak because I'm not, I speak to him, but you know what I'm saying. So it's that. So the more I pump into Dave, the more accurate it's going to be. So it's the same concept with the HeyGen and platforms like that. Then, if I'm gathering what you said, the more that we
Exactly.
Okay.
And you're talking about you're using it from an end user perspective. Now we're talking about from a platform perspective. So there's a
Okay.
certain amount of data that has to be fed to this whole entire platform to get more of that element that you all are talking about. But
Okay.
understand that data is going to get fed to this thing much faster than you would probably anticipate because of how many people are using these platforms.
Yeah.
Like they're used quite frequently and a lot at a high value once people start seeing the real value in it.
Okay, so here's a relatively deep question, and I'm sure you know the answer to it, but is there a centralized location that all this information goes to and then it gets distributed into his individual file as well? Or does Chris have his own Chat GPT?
I think
So I get what you're asking. Well, go
yeah.
ahead, Reese. You
No,
asking?
I'm thinking what he's saying. You can correct me if I'm wrong, but everything I put in the Chat GPT, it's public, right? So then it's not my own. It's not locked in my vault.
So that program is
Yeah.
learning with everyone
Yes,
together.
right?
That's why exactly, yeah. That's
Okay.
why chat is what it is in a lot of these AI platforms. They are like group learning. There are things you can do to pay to get your stuff more secure and private
Right.
on ChatGPT, but it's more of it's building a network of data endpoints that allow it to be more effective at just answering questions all around. So
Okay.
it's definitely like a feeder network, and it's just going to keep getting smarter. But there are like they do have dedicated buckets for just Chris's stuff, and like it's kind of just how the cloud works. It's like you got a dedicated bucket for what all your social media stuff in Facebook's big cloud bucket of
Right.
Instagram or Meta based stuff. You know what I'm saying? So it's one of those kind of things. They give you a bucket, but a lot of the data that is processed from that bucket is kind of aggregated in a way that allows everybody to kind of benefit from the fact that Chris was searching for how to strategize on real estate in said area. Now other people that may want to look for similar things have some a pipeline to be able to understand it a little bit more effectively and quicker or something like that.
That was a great answer to my horribly asked question. I'm glad you were able to decipher what my question was out of that. But yeah, that was a
Kinda knew
great
where you
answer,
were going
man.
for sure.
You know why? Because Dennis is actually AI. He's not real. This is just this is him. He's sitting in the back room and he's going, I'm gonna mess with motherfuckers. They're not gonna realize I'm not real.
We've never
remember that
actually
movie,
had a
Simone?
guest on this podcast. They're all AI.
No, we haven't. You remember that movie Simone? I may be dating myself again. It was an Al Pacino flick, and it was called
Yes.
Simone, and it was basically Sim One. Did you ever see that movie, Dennis?
I have not seen it. I might have
Okay.
to check it out.
So Google Sim One, and it's SIMONE. And the preface of it, and it's got to be 15, 20 years old, but the preface of it was this Hollywood producer, exec, director was tired of all the bullshit that actors pull, right? So somebody that was dying created this simulated woman, and they basically the entire movie's wrapped around this fake woman, and they get her to do all these different things. He tries to destroy her and push her away, and then just people embrace her even more. It's like a simulated Charlie Sheen, but the female version, right? The train wreck. She's walking at one point in time. She's hands and he's going through a pig field and just slopping and just the nastiest things because he was trying to disrupt it and kind of make everybody think she's not real. But it's a trip because once all this became so much more aware in the world that AI is really coming and it's dominating, I'm like, Sim One, that Simone, the movie with Pacino, it was brilliant because it was all about somebody who's not there, but the entire public thought she was legit. And it was all done, obviously back then it was all done with CGI, which obviously is another version of AI, right? Just a different type of platform. But it's legit. So if you like Pacino and you're into that kind of movies, like actual movies that you have to act, you should check it out. It's pretty legit. Simone.
I'll definitely check it out.
Yeah, Simone. So what's on the horizon for Dennis? What do you got going on in the future besides taking over the world with AI technology?
Man, yes, I'm not as focused on taking over the world with AI, but it's a tool that I'm going to definitely use. So right now, man, I got a couple of things that I'm quite focused on. So
Yeah.
Of course, I told you all I run a consulting firm. It's kind of like something that's just a natural part of the way that I move and operate. But in front of me being a consultant and a coach, I'm very much so an executive and an innovator in the immersive tech and media space. So right now, I'm running a company. It's called On Another World. We're focused on making VR technology, XR technology more accessible, more relevant, more impactful. So we created this service platform called Reset XR that ultimately distributes wellness-based immersive technology platforms to locations all around. But we're doing an activation tomorrow at an organization called BHR. It's a behavioral health non-for-profit that focuses on kind of just a lot of different things in community when it comes to just the wellness of people's mental state and stuff like that. So I'm building this Reset XR platform right now to make, and it's called Reset XR for a real reason because VR and XR technology have been around for a while, but I feel like
You just
the,
hit
the
another
mark might
question
have
I
been
got.
missed a little bit.
VR.
Go ahead. What you got?
It's long forgotten, right? It was supposed to be the greatest thing about 2016. What has happened to the progress in VR and just that whole general space? It seemed like it was taken over about 8 years ago, and then I don't hear a lot about it anymore. So talk to me about that since you're in that space.
I'm glad you asked that question. So this is an amazing question. It's a point that a lot of people that are generally in the market are feeling about this technology already. That's why I named our core service Reset XR, because honestly, the whole industry has been positioned misproperly from my lens as someone who's just built a lot of really effective tech. So they built this technology and they positioned it as more of a entertainment-based thing to the market. So most people's introduction to the technology is naturally aligned with like either some form of gaming or
Oculus.
Maybe
that's what I used.
Yeah, things of that nature. So people see it as more of from a general perspective, people see it as this like headset gaming experience, which that's not a way for you to make a new form of hardware technology something that people really adopt. And that's really one of the biggest problems. So I've come into this industry over the past few years, understanding and learning that, but then knowing that this technology is too powerful for people to look at it from that lens. Like there's a million other applications that come from this technology that are they happen all over, but they're just very much so siloed and niche to just the people that are looking for certain solutions. So there's training things that you can simulate, workforce training and development. There's one of the verticals that I'm focused on, wellness, which there's things that can be done with immersive technology to take meditative and mental wellness to places that a therapist alone just can't do for people because you might not be capable of distributing at the level that everybody needs. So there's a lot of other applications that need to be explored with this technology, and that's one of the main reasons why I created On Another World, because that problem that you just said, like this technology came and it looks like it never went anywhere. Meta, Apple, all these other large scale tech companies are investing large amounts of money in making this hardware, continuing to create infrastructure for people to make software in these spaces. But there's a disconnect between the software and the companies that are building the software and the rest of the general market that doesn't see the real value in what this technology can be, because it's not like, I don't see it as something that's meant to supplant reality. I see it as something that's meant to help extend reality, help give people alternate versions of how to view reality, and then use that as a tool to help make the real reality better. So,
Man, I never thought about that.
I didn't. Yeah,
You're right. It was
that's a
totally
trap.
geared toward gaming, because that's what got me into it. Was a friend of mine had the Oculus and I played it, and I'm like, wow, this is awesome, but I don't want to get wrapped up in another gaming system that is going to suck. I just don't play games anymore, man. I don't have time for that. I love games as much as anybody, but they're a time suck, right? So I just don't want to be in that environment. But like you just said, which is brilliant, I could see the other applications for VR. Like, I'm a musician, right? So to have somebody sitting there either jamming with me or teaching me, or you know what I'm saying? I saw the educational and the user aspect from a functional standpoint, right? As a musician, this would be great if Chris and I could be in the same room 2,000 miles apart in real time, right?
VR could do that.
That's
Because
what
I have never put on VR goggles. I've never done anything like that whatsoever.
It's awesome, dude.
So with you saying that kind of just, like, that would blow my mind. Like, legit,
Is my concept legit? Could you make that happen?
Yeah. Could you make that happen, Dennis?
So there are verticals, like stuff like that does happen. So like are verticals where, like Facebook has invested millions of dollars into this thing that they call the metaverse. It's called the metaverse because they made the MetaQuest headset, and then they made a digital world where people that have MetaQuest headsets can go into these digital worlds and build their own digital environments. Now, the way that they've done it is very much so Facebookish. So it's so wide and broad that people can come on there and do anything. There is no limit to what you can do in the metaverse. You can dang near create any type of world for any types of people, for any type of group, and people that are also have profiles in MetaQuest and in the metaverse.
See, I've heard of it, but I never knew what it was.
Yeah.
So I'm not someone that frequents these types of environments, but this is something that's very,
you just
very
explained to
popular
me
in
what
this
it was,
space.
though. I've heard the word, but I just didn't know what
I didn't either.
whole concept
so it's
entailed.
basically like a VR Facebook. If you could imagine, when I say that, think of it as literally as you could have your own page and profile, and you can create a world around your page and profile that people can come to, and you can go to other people's pages and profile. You can have domains that are groups and all these other things, and it gives you the ability to take it from being this flat page that's a group on Facebook to now you have a virtual environment that encapsulates this group that can do almost anything that this group can imagine.
That's crazy, dude.
But it's all virtual though, so you know what I'm saying. It's very much so a virtual experience to kind of replicate. It's a virtual reality. That's why they call it virtual reality. You know what I'm saying? But it's that vertical is very much so alive and moving. I see even more practical applications than that, but those types of applications are things that like have drawn a lot of people into the technology, but not enough to make a seismic quake of the whole world understand. Like there's still even though there's a lot of people that are interested in this tech, it's still small in comparison to how many people are using more traditional formats of technology like mobile devices and tablets and
I guess that was the point of my question was
stuff.
When I first saw the Oculus, I was like, holy fuck, man, this is going to take over the world. Not just as gaming, but just the concept of being that virtual world that you just described to the audience, right? Here's a place you can go, interact, be productive. I didn't see that in the gaming side, but the actual graphics and the world and being like on that Oculus, you could interact. There was a like learn how to use it room. I'm sure you've seen it, where you can interact with the guy in the piano or whatever. And there's a fire crackling in the background. You totally feel like you're there.
Okay. So I have a question. I'm trying to wrap my head around this. My head's going to explode. So like put it in this kind of perspective. So I watch football on TV. I won't go to a game because it sucks, right? You can't see all the highlights and shit. You can't see everything when you're at an NFL game, but you can see everything when you're at home for the most part, right? So is this technology something that you could virtually buy a ticket to stand on the sideline and watch the game? So you're there, but you're not there because it's a hologram of yourself, but you're actually at a real event, as a kind of like Star Trek shit, like beam me up, Scotty. You know, you're just there watching the game, and like I could reach out and touch Cam Scattaboo on the shoulder, and he could turn and look at me like, "What the fuck you doing on my sideline, man?" Like, my bad. I mean, is it going there to where you can kind of, virtually transport yourself to a space and time, and kind of like be engaged in that, like a concert or event or like, a prime example, COVID, right? COVID shut everything down, so the stadiums were empty. But if there were technology was there, then you can have your virtual seats and you're all at the stadium watching the game, even though you're not there. Am I just whack-a-mole, or is that something on the horizon?
Are you on drugs?
So
I don't know.
Yeah,
I couldn't resist.
Let me give you some context. Yeah, let me give you some context, man. So you got to think we're humans. We only have so many senses. So virtual reality does some things to play off a few of your senses at a level that it can blur the lines between some of your other senses. But physical touch in virtual reality is not it's possible there's this thing called haptics that simulate physical interaction.
Right.
But haptics it's just an extension to visual virtual reality. So now you can have haptics that couple with, but it's not going to be as simple as you interacting with someone in a physical location you feel like it. That stuff that's very far. You know,
That's
what I'm
next
saying?
level.
That's
like next level stuff. Okay.
Yeah, that's next level. It's very, it will require something totally different for that to happen for multiple people. So the physical part, I wouldn't even say that stuff is like something that you would think about exploring. But from a visual perspective, there's major partnerships with stadiums and major league sports that have made these simulated sitting courtside or sitting on right on the over the first baseline or simulating the sitting right. Like they've done these types of things for football, basketball, baseball, soccer. And you can kind of get almost any angle that you could imagine from different software providers in the VR experience. So they have stuff like that where you can literally be in those places.
So his visual concept is doable, not his
visual
physical.
and audio. So like the visual and the audio, they have spatial audio where it's kind of like you get the feel of sounds coming from different directions and things of that nature. So those things are very much so already here and available in certain formats for sure.
Yeah, the haptics thing. There's a commercial years ago for Cox Communications, which is the major cable provider here in the western. I don't know if it is where you're at, but where they could hug people, right? Like you could share a hug. So they have a grandparent wearing this thing. Campaign. Yeah. A grandparent wearing this thing, and then on the other end of this, the tablet was the daughter was wearing the thing, and they could virtually hug each other and actually feel it.
That's haptics. That's
cool.
Haptics form.
Cool.
Yeah, so that's another form of immersive technology. Yeah. So like anything that can play on your visual, your audio, your sense of feeling. There's even the sensory stuff, sense of smell. These are all immersive technologies that can be mixed together to do a number of different things. But that's definitely a use case that people played around with for sure.
That's cool. So like when I did the Van Gogh immersive thing, that's the kind of stuff where you go through this warehouse that's just nothing, but then you're walking through Van Gogh's artwork and shit, and you can kind of reach out and touch it even though it's not really there, and you're not really touching it, but it's still kind of there because you're immersed in it, right? I just put that together right now, Dennis. And I'm not an idiot, man.
He's so excited.
No, you're good.
Mind blown. We have to have you come on like once a year just to give us updates of AI and where it's going and where it's
100%, man.
Because this is just fascinating, man. Fascinating.
So that, like I was saying, I think we dived into that, but I'm big on immersive technology. So I'm focused on becoming a thought leader in the immersive tech space. So I'm really focused on this wellness experience that we're creating. We have our first activation tomorrow in St. Louis. It'll be at this really nice hotel and art museum called 21C. So it'll be an experience that we have just specifically for the group of people that are kind of visiting this wellness journey at that with that organization, BHR. I'm also planning we have 2 other activations that'll be happening over the next couple of months. So all of this stuff is on Another World focused, really focused on us bringing what we're doing and what we see is one of the verticals that can really make this technology just more relevant to people. Like it's you bought the Oculus and you feel like the technology just sitting there collecting dust because you didn't. It wasn't presented to you in a way where you could really see long-term relevancy. It wasn't playing a game on the Oculus isn't that much better than playing a game on a TV.
It's not.
And if you don't want to play a game at all, it's like, what else do I see a value in this technology? And that's really what we're focused on. So wellness is our first vertical. Education and development will be our second verticals, and then we'll dive into entertainment and leisure after we kind of dive into those two first verticals. So
whatever happened to the Google glasses? That was another one that was supposed to be like it's going to replace your whatever computer, television.
So the thing about all of that kind of stuff, it's just timing with stuff like that. So now, have you ever heard of the Ray-Ban Metas?
Yeah,
and,
one of my
have you heard of
guy,
Magic?
yeah, a guy I work with has them, and he put them on and walked through a house. It's pretty legit because he's just having a conversation walking through a house.
Yeah, so they literally come with like cameras built in them, so you can there's cameras in them, and then there's also, you really can't see it, but there's like a speaker built in here, so you can literally, it's a speaker and a microphone, so you can literally talk to the AI. You can get it, it can see what you're looking at, and like if you're in a different country and you want to read a billboard, say, hey, what does that billboard say?
No,
this thing can do stuff like that for you.
That's crazy,
stuff
man.
like that. Like, yeah, but these things are becoming more advanced, so they have a lot of other stuff too that they're doing. But this type of technology, this Ray-Ban Meta, the glasses that give you mixed reality, augmented reality glasses, this stuff is like a more in between use case between virtual reality. They call it mixed reality, augmented reality. So the glasses are very much so still a thing. I don't know if Google's going to venture back into that space, but there's definitely like going to be a lot of stuff that's happening there. Meta is like,
so they were too early with their Google glasses.
They definitely were too early. Like it took, it was still other things that need to be developed to make this technology. Like AI had to, like, this tech has been around they've been doing this.
You can tell how far I fell behind, Dennis, because I'm talking to you about things that you understand, and you're telling me where it's gone.
Right.
I didn't get back into technology until we started this podcast. I was literally just smart TV guy and had no need for a computer, right? So I had to kind of dive back into this. I didn't know Ray-Ban came out with that. Chris knew that.
It's pretty legit, and it hooks up to his phone. And I think with his, I don't know if it's standard with all of them. There's like a 3-minute recording window that you can do. Is that accurate?
Yeah, it has a small recording window on the Meta Ray-Bans. So yeah, this is a collaboration between Ray-Ban and Meta. So a huge tech company, a huge glasses company, they come together. Yeah, $200.
Well, that's why I like your idea of having this guy on every so often, because it'll help me keep up with technology. Because you just told me things that I had pretty much given up on virtual reality. I didn't know that anybody was still pursuing it. Stupidly, you should know that people.
No, it's the whole world around this stuff, man. There's hundreds of millions of dollars being dumped into this industry. It's not as connected to the market as people would imagine. The last thing I'll tell you all I'm doing too. So I have a AI talk series that I'm actually dropping. Well, it's going to be, I'm not going to call it the podcast. It's going to be 15 to 20 minute conversations that I'll have with people on Instagram Live. So
cool.
I got about almost 15 people booked, but I'm trying to do around 25 to 30. Sorry about that. Conversations before the middle of October. So I have a couple of AI creative projects that I've been working on. On top of me being a tech executive and a consultant and a coach, I'm also an artist and a creative. So I make music. I have a format that I'm doing with the music that I create that's meant to, my moniker is still Mr. Business Tech in the music, but it's meant to bring more people into the tech. The same way we just had a conversation. And these types of conversations, I have them all the time between all different types of people, all different ages, all different. It doesn't matter. Like, you can go somebody like myself in a room with somebody who may be interested in technology or maybe fearful of it or maybe wanting to understand more, but really they just haven't talked to the right person to help them kind of connect the dots. I'm like one of those kind of guys, but I'm also using this talk series that I'm creating, which is called the Huawei AI Talk Series. I'm using it to be a format for me to kind of remove the fear in AI and really just enlighten people in a way to allow them to see it as a tool that they can use to do almost anything. And we'll highlight creative projects in that space.
Yeah, the fear is real too, because how I learned about HeyGen and this thing called Autoreals and Inman, which is the real estate kind of backbone, National Association of Realtors. Every year they have an Inman conference, which, you've probably heard of that, Dennis. People just flock to this thing, technology, Well, they had the original founders of Google on the year before Google was launching, and so they asked the crowd then, like, hey, you know, imagine being able to just type something and it pops up instantly, and half the crowd was excited, half the crowd was scared. So with HeyGen and AI, they did the same thing. The guy that and then behind it all, he introduced an AI speaker, and she came on the thing, and she's like, okay, first and foremost, you know, how many of you are excited about AI? And only half the crowd raised their hand. And how many of you are afraid of it? The other half the crowd raised their hand. This lady, by far, is nowhere near your level of intelligence when it comes to this, because she's only been doing it for 1 or 2 years, and she's getting paid to speak all around the world 4 to 5 times a week. And so that's what drew me to the HeyGen, because she pulled up HeyGen, and these are the things that I had. She used a different chat platform than ChatGPT. I forget what it's called, but she told them to do this and connect with HeyGen. And then when she pulled it up from the time she left that city to California to do the conference, she pulled it up on the screen, and like 164 things were written and prepared. And then she just goes back to her hotel room and she goes through them all and then sets them all up to be dispersed, you know, on all her platforms. If she's getting paid bang for that, dude, you should lead the way, because 15 years, you're way ahead of the curve with everybody. Because again, that chick 1-2 years, and she's considered a professional, or not a professional. What's the word?
Expert.
An expert on it. But you got 15 years. You're building startup companies and all kinds of tech wrapped around anything and everything you've talked about today. Like, dude, your life resume is fantastic, Dennis, and you're only 35 years old. The fact that you thought of this when you were 20 and dove into it, that's next level, man. Like, next level. Even if you're not really here, it's just an image of you and AI created. It's
Man,
still
I'm
so
definitely
real.
Here, man. I'm definitely here.
We feel you, brother. We feel you.
It's cool, man, because it's exciting to me, and I'm just barely using it. I'm barely using it.
Me too.
You know,
After hearing this conversation, I feel like we definitely are in the baby steps of AI. You and I. For
yeah,
sure.
oh yeah. We're not Dennis over here. You know, I tried to scan your shirt over the riverside. It didn't work, man. I was doing this trying.
Oh man, it might be a bad glimpse. I like to keep that in there, but yeah, I mean, it's just on another world. So
you know what's cool about what he just said, though?
Yeah.
I know, I love the fact you're humble. I try and be a humble musician, right? I've been playing music since I was 9 years old. People tell me I'm good. That's all I say. The reason that I'm glad we met you is because I like to have what I call my people, right? So if I need to have a question answered about AI from now on, I'm going to contact Dennis, right? You're a subject matter expert. That was Chris's point.
Yeah.
And the way that you described and talked the whole time you were on the show, man, you finally were able to get a dummy like me to understand something that I'm not well versed at, that I'm very new at. And the way that you describe these things, it's painfully obvious that you know what you're talking about, because you can talk above our heads, but you choose to bring it down to our level, right? That's a sign of intelligence for sure.
I appreciate it, man. It's just respect, man. I just respect humans, man. I respect the life form in front of me, man. I understand that I've been blessed to learn a lot of stuff and get exposed to a lot of stuff. And
well, you're great at getting your message across too, man, because we're talking about very complex things, and you were able to put it, like Chris said, I think you should be out there speaking and being paid these exorbitant fees, because you definitely deserve it.
And
what you just said, and I am a public speaker too. I feel like I need to boost up the amount of work I'm doing in that space, but I think you do. Every once in a while.
You're very good at it.
Appreciate it.
And what you said about your mindset about humans and being human, I mean, you're home with us, because we're the same thing. It's not. We don't interview people. We have conversations. Interviews boring. You can't learn as much as just having an organic conversation like we had. I'm glad I kind of broke my mold and looked kind of, I couldn't find your email, so I started diving deep down, which is cool, because then I was excited. We're going to let you go. How do people find you from a consulting aspect? Is this something that like anybody in the world can kind of, hey, I want to do this? So drop how people find you, and then we'll wrap up the show.
For sure, yeah. So you all can reach me. I'm naturally on LinkedIn. You can look me up, Dennis Campbell. I'm also have my consulting company is called DNY Enterprises. So the letter D, the letter N, the letter Y, enterprises.com. You can find different things. We provide, like I said, coaching and consulting services, as well as we do public speaking. I have a book that we're rolling out later on this year called Beyond Code. So there's a number of different things that we do from DNY Enterprises. Again, I'm an executive and a founder of On Another World, where if you're interested in anything immersive technology, wellness related primarily right now, but literally I'm a thought leader in the immersive tech space. So On Another World is my like immersive tech world where we play, innovate, create, and really just look to serve and be more effective with that stuff. And then you can find me on Instagram, Mr. Business Tech. I'm on there. Like I said, I'm a executive, an artist, consultant, a coach, all these things simultaneously, an author. And I just kind of find a way to be the most authentic version of myself on Instagram, and now building a YouTube community and stuff like that. So really just trying to, make sure I'm visible for what I feel like is the work that I'm called to do in the world around me. So
well, the next time you come on here,
on today too.
You make sure that Chris books you on a Friday, and we're going to do an hour about AI, and we're going to talk an hour about music, because I did not know you were a musician, and now we got to talk about music. So,
yeah, man, my album's come. My first, I'm a new artist too, man. I just released my first single in July, or something like that. Released the single. It's called Why Wait. I'm releasing my first album. It's on even.biz, so you can hear a piece of it on YouTube. Like I have some of it on YouTube, but I chose to I distro differently. I'm choosing not to like throw my music in the pool and pond of all the other traditional distribution platforms. But you can go to YouTube, and I do have parts of some of my music there. And then like I distro on even.biz, and yeah, man, I'm brought the singles out. I'm rolling out my album next month. So it'll be in like mid to late October. I'm dropping my album. It's called You Can't Unsee This Shit.
I love it. Congratulations.
Yeah, appreciate it, man. So it's my first presentation as an artist. I would love to come on and do something more music related too.
Absolutely.
I actually love the music too, man.
Yeah,
for sure.
We do too.
Yeah, this is how they all started. Hey, so this has been the Chris and Mike Show. This is Dennis Campbell. He's mind blown, expanded the knowledge today of AI universe. Definitely going to have him back on. We're going to talk more about music. We're going to talk more about AI. We'll have you back on next time, just talk music. So, and then we'll have another show where we talk AI again. So we wrap up every show like this. If you're feeling bad, depressed, suicidal, reach out to somebody, go run, go yell on a pillow, go journal, go work out, do something. Reach out to somebody that will talk to you, that will listen to you. You don't want to leave a hole in somebody else's heart. They're going to miss you because they love you, even though you don't think they do. Tomorrow is always a better day when you wake up in the world with us. So remember that. I'm Chris. He's Mike. This is Dennis. Find us on all the platforms, and we will drop all Dennis's information on the Facebook page once the show drops, so you can see it came out on his socials and dial in and get connected with him if you want to learn more about his consulting business and his future music business and all the things associated around Dennis Campbell. Fantastic life resume, man. Thank you very much for coming on the show.
Thanks again, man.
You've been fantastic.
Appreciate you guys
man.
For sure, man.
Fantastic. Don't jump off yet, because once we sign off, we got to make sure everything's uploaded. So until next time, everybody, peace.